Star Wars. It's a movie and it's a book series as well as a movie series. There's several of them. Or maybe it's a TV show. They come in episodes. It's also a cartoon. It's all over everything. It's on cereal boxes and Doritos. And it's also, it's a whole lot of fun for a lot of people. I should probably start off by saying I know what you're thinking. Star Wars? Why would I watch Star Wars when there's real wars and poverty? I got a family that I have to provide for by going to work every day. When I get home, I don't want to sit down and watch some Chewbacca talk to some princess in a town far, far away. Why would I care about Star Wars of all things? Why would I obsess over some stupid fiction instead of actually doing something productive with my life? And to that I say, look, Brianna, I agree. Look, Brianna, I agree for the most part. All right. It's just, if you could just take a second and actually listen to the words I'm about to say to you instead of just constantly throwing judgment my way, maybe you would understand where I'm coming from if you could get it through your thick skull. Hey, man, stop being an asshole. You can't talk to her like that. Of course you're going to take her side, right? It's not like there's another guy named Sam who walks around and also likes, the color turquoise. You two are best friends or whatever, but just hear me out. Okay, whatever. Are you going to let me talk? I mean, I guess. All right. Okay, so let's talk about Star Wars. Back in the year of 1977, I was not born. So basically nothing matters. Everything up until 1999, it was just, it was just a waste of time. Or so I thought until I finally watched Star Wars for the fourth time. Up until I was an aged boy with a gross mutating body, I had only seen the prequels. The prequels, as a kid, are great. It's space wizards and they're flying through the air and they're swiping at each other with the lightsabers. I mean, nowadays it looks like a PlayStation 3 game. With the graphics turned down, but as a kid, it gave me a reason to smash my brother's knuckles with a plastic saber, and that's really all I cared about at the time. But once I got to the ripe old age of 10 or 13 or something, where I was mutating halfway and I had a weird spine and a weird face, the ripe old age of 20 years old, I pulled out the VHS of Kronk's New Groove, set it aside, picked up the gray VHS that said A New Hope. I slid it into the TV because it had a little slot underneath. It was like a plastic one. And I finally watched Star Wars the way it was meant to be watched. The effects, the characters, the drama, all of it that it strived for, it nailed. It's difficult to talk about the original series without reiterating. I mean, everybody's talked about it. It's been talked about to death. I'm not here to talk about the original trilogy. Even though it is really good, I just need to establish that I'm not a moron by saying that, the prequels are bad and prequels bad. Original trilogy good. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get to the video. But where is Star Wars nowadays? Let's catch up a little bit. The best way I can describe the new trilogy and I've thought about this a lot, is a dad who has worked really hard, worked his knuckles to the bone at his 9 to 5, earning the money to buy a new pet for his son, a cat specifically, because the son has finally gotten over the fact that the cat died and it's been too long, and he's going to surprise him for his birthday with the money to get a new cat. He's going to take him to the pound and tell him to get whatever he wants. So on his birthday, he hands his kid the money, takes him to the pound and says, surprise me. All right. And then the kid comes home later with a large, heavy set mutt that bursts in the door and starts shitting all over the walls and just making a general mess of everything. And then he just runs off into the night and is never seen again. Not that I am against the dog part. I'm allergic to cats. I can only, I am a dog person. I have a dog. She's a very nice, good girl. She's a good girl. But you get the idea. J.J. Abrams is the one that wrote the new one. He did do a good job. I will say that. He did a very good job cleaning up after Rian Johnson. I don't want to talk about Rian Johnson. I don't want to be another dude that's like, Rian Johnson ruined Star Wars, but it's like kind of true. It's not a huge deal. Star Wars isn't the most important thing in the world. I suppose it might be possible to write a satisfying ending to this. I don't actually think so, but I also don't think J.J. Abrams was I don't think he's that great of a writer. I think that's not real. I don't think that should be his MO. It is, because the man's filthy rich and he can do whatever he wants. He's one of those people, but I don't want him to. I want him to be a good boy and write well. And he writes okay. And I think that's, less than what Star Wars needed for the last one or for the middle one. I think it would have been better if they had just gotten J.J. Abrams to produce and direct all of them and had someone else write them, like Jon Favreau. Just get Johnny. He did the other one. He did that. He did Iron Guy. Okay, so at this point, if you're the proprietor of one cranium, you're thinking, okay, this is a lost cause. I'm done. I'm giving up on Star Wars. I'm not gonna watch anymore. But right now, I just want to talk about. So I was hanging out with a pal of mine. I was hanging out with a pal of mine. We were talking about filming, and he sat me down and put on The Mandalorian. And I was like, oh, Star Wars. I didn't want to watch any more Star Wars. I was done with it. I didn't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. And then I loved it. It was so well done. Here's what I really liked about it. It was original where it needed to be fresh. It was original where Star Wars was starting to get tired, but respectful and very, very smart in the way that it integrated Star Wars. It was basically just a place set in the Star Wars universe. It made me feel like a kid in front of that plastic television again, with the high-pitched squeal of the stupid light in my ears, watching Luke cut open a tauntaun with a lightsaber again, because the characters are awesome. The drama is awesome. Everything that's set up is very, very good. The music is really good. The music perfectly encapsulates the tone of the entire series. It's this Western type Star Wars adventure with bounty hunters. It's a new take on it, but also just feels a lot like Star Wars. The Mandalorian is, it's a cake. And the heart of it is this really good writing by Jon Favreau. Good-ish directors. There's a couple episodes that I think are iffy when it comes to directing. But the writing all around is solid, and it stays in continuity, and it feels like Star Wars, and it's great, great, great. And then it has this icing on top that is Star Wars. It's the world of Star Wars that kind of rounds it out and makes it taste good. And it's so quaint in a way that like I'm just glad it's a TV show. Like I wouldn't want it to be a movie. I wouldn't want it to be any bigger. Oh my god, especially after Rise of Skywalker. Oh my god, talk about like the most dramatic, explodey, endgame, Infinity War, climactic ending you've ever seen on the screen. It was a nightmare to watch. It was, oh my god. At the beginning, this is not a joke. At the beginning of the new Star Wars movie, they play a warning for epileptics. And I thought it might have been because there's flashing lights, but that's just because of the editing. It was so fast paced and nuts that I couldn't focus on anything, and it made me want to throw up. But all around, I just loved it. And it just feels good to say that about something, because when you're about to find this out on my channel, I can be a little hard to please for the masses. Maybe not hard to please as a critic in general, because I enjoy watching movies. Brando would say I fucking hate movies. Shut the fuck up, Brando. Okay, we can talk about Baby Yoda a little more, just get the ball rolling. When I first saw him, I immediately was like, oh, that's Gizmo. And I like Gizmo. And then I kind of forgot about it. And it was like, I started watching it before, like, you know, the Twitter mobs. So I didn't know too much about Baby Yoda. I didn't actually know about it at all. And the twist was really good. I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. That's really cool. I like how, and people are complaining about like, oh, well, George Lucas didn't. I cannot express enough how much, and this is disrespectful, and I know that, to an artist or whatever, but he gave away the rights. I don't give a what George Lucas thinks. I really don't. Ever since the prequels, ever since King of the Crystal Skull, I think George Lucas's brain is made out of snot. I think he's not good at being an artist. I think he kind of rode on the backs of his successors, and then when he went to go make solo things, he went to go make solo films, his true nature really shied, and he was just kind of like this. I guess I wanted to make this video to show my appreciation if this ever reached anyone who worked on The Mandalorian. That's, you know, the hopes or whatever. If anyone ever saw it, I just wanted to say thank you. You are the new hope. So I suppose, coming back around to the initial question, why should you care about Star Wars? I suppose my answer is kind of you don't have to. You really don't. No one's forcing you to like Star Wars. I'm not forcing you to like Star Wars. It's just a thing that I like, that people like. And if you like it, cool. If you don't, that's also cool. But if you want to watch a really good TV show right now, and you've at least heard about Star Wars or have seen the original trilogy, The Mandalorian will not disappoint. And if you don't like it, then I guess you can just go watch The Love Guru, Rihanna.